Shalom, shalom, and welcome. This is Quick Words. End Time Things to Consider. It is part of the series entitled Man's Final Steps. In this segment of Quick Words, this segment is entitled Determine Communication Protocols. If you're tuning in for the first time, my name is Symmanayah, and today is March 22nd, 2014. These are messages that are addressed to those who will be among the ranks of the 144,000, 12,000 from each of the tribe of true Yasharal, commonly known as Israel, and the multitude, a great multitude of which no man will be able to count, from many nations, kindreds, and tongues, those who are grafted together as one under the banner of Yasharal by the Spirit of Yahushua, by Yahushua our Messiah. With that said, again, this segment is entitled Determine Communication Protocols. Protocols. I will explain the definition of protocols in a moment. My brothers and sisters, there is no doubt to many of us that we have entered into end times. Drought is growing rampant across the planet, and it will lead to severe famine. In other words, no water, no food, both of which are mentioned in scriptures regarding end times. What makes these conditions different than any other times in the world is that world leaders are now facing the challenge of possibly man's extinction if nothing is done about the rising conditions. Words like never before, this has never before happened, peak levels, peak water, and more are being circulated. More recently, concerns are beginning to rise about the fast-growing population compared to our ability to produce food. In other words, the population is growing at a much rapid pace compared to food production. To put on top of that, pollution and man's greed and waste and neglect has led to a reduction in places where we can grow our food. Not to mention the drought that I spoke of earlier. Whether you realize that from a natural perspective we are approaching conditions such that without intervention from the Most High Father Yahuwah, man would become extinct along with many living creatures during this century, if there was not a plan from the Most High. Sooner or later, people's confidence in their leaders, both religious and government, will become questionable, if not fail altogether. Forced transitions will begin to emerge as a result of massive drought, famine, pestilence, and disease. There may be many of you who think that I am imagining, overreacting, or being an alarmist. What do you think the thoughts were to those who did not get on the ark? What were the feelings of those who were swallowed by the earth in Numbers 16th chapter? What emotions, what thoughts crossed the minds of those who was destroyed in Sodom and Gomorrah? I submit to you, my brothers, be careful of what you dismiss. Pray earnestly, for no scriptures, no prophecy is of any private interpretation. Forced transitions are coming. And in the wake of these conditions will come violence, civil unrest, economic collapse, and much more, of which I have spoken and mentioned many times. I invite you to strongly begin to address the need to determine communication protocols. Determine communication protocols prior to chaos and confusion breaking out. Allow me to present a couple of definitions of the word protocol to make this message clearer. Protocol, a set of rules governing the format of messages that are exchanged from one another or others. It's a code of correct conduct. My brothers and sisters, believe it or not, there are those from our fellowship groups, camps, assemblies, families, or even husbands who claim leadership over you or I. They consider you their flock, so to speak. They consider us their flock. Yes, there are a lot of people who are out there saying they speak for the Hebrew, or they speak for the chosen Hebrew, or they speak for those who have come into the truth. some self-appointed, some chosen and directed and led by the Spirit of Yahushua. Regardless of the words we say, by our actions, all too often we demonstrate that we have found ourselves to be submissive to their leadership. Their perceived positions will hold true because of our actions, because of our yielding to them. With this said, many of these leaders will claim to speak on our behalf. When forced transitions begin to enlarge and the children of obedience are gathered, we will witness many shepherds, some chosen and some self-appointed, speaking or attempting to speak on our behalf. Some will be guided by the Spirit of Yahushua, some will be following their own hidden agendas and behaviors. Be mindful of these behaviors, for some of these leaders will only be concerned with their own safety or only the safety of a small few or just their immediate family. They will profess to speak on our behalf, but inwardly some will have hidden agendas because of the limited food as a result of famine and the limited drinking water because of drought. I encourage each of us to be prepared, to be alert, to begin listening and hear these words, and begin to ask questions and inquire about specific methods for going through these end times. Start discussions and determine communication protocols. Who will speak on behalf of whom? And what will they say? What is the plan? What has been revealed? What is being led? Begin to ask questions and determine whether or not the person in which we find ourselves in fellowship or who considers themselves our leader is indeed led by the Spirit of Yahushua. My brothers and sisters, start these discussions. Determine communication protocols. Determine a set of rules, a format in which things should go forth in regards to communication. Whether it be on your behalf or not, these discussions should be circulating among us during these end times. Get clear understanding of how communications will be implemented, for times of urgency will emerge sooner than many of us realize. My brothers and sisters, it will be wise to take heed to these words, for in due season, if not already, you will be able to bear witness to these instructions and warnings. Allow me to share this passage of Scripture with you. Watch over your heart with all diligence. This is Proverbs 4:23 through 27. It reads, "Watch over your heart with all diligence, for out of it are the sources of life. Turn away from a crooked mouth and put perverse lips far from you. Let your eyes look forward and your eyelids look straight before you. Consider the path of your feet, and all your ways are established. Do not turn to the right or the left. Turn your feet away from evil." I ask you, my brothers and sisters, as I did in the previous recording, who has taught us or will teach us or is teaching us how to honor these words I just read? The words of watching over our heart with all diligence, turning away from a crooked mouth, looking forward, being focused, considering the paths of our feet. Who is teaching us? Who is taking us and guiding us into the maturity that is necessary for us to realize what is righteous, for us to know how to determine communication protocols? I submit to you, it is Yahushua HaMashiach, our Messiah. John 14:26 reads, "But the Helper, the set-apart Spirit whom the Father shall send in my name, he shall teach you all and remind you of all that I've said to you." This is the Mashiach talking. My brothers and sisters, it would be wise to determine communication protocols, at least begin the discussions of the format when crisis hit, as calamity comes and chaos begins to move about our very communities and neighborhoods. Find out what the leaders say, that this would be the process, this will be the format, this is the way we will conduct ourselves. Let us seek those who are being led by the Spirit of Yahushua and be able to discern and understand what must be done. Do not get discouraged or be overtaken with unbelief. The final exodus will take shape. The 144,000 and the multitude will emerge. Until next time, my brothers and sisters, Continue to stay tuned as Quick Words continues. Shalom, shalom, shalom.